Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. With this slump that I'm on, the slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump just continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad, back with you. This is Toadstool Sports. It is whatever day it is, Monday, February 9th.
These losses stay with me. They fester, Jerry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yesterday was it was almost a break even, believe it or not, yesterday, because we did get the win with UNC Greensboro. My college basketball was really good yesterday, and it was one of those days where I was right about almost everything in college basketball. I was like, I should have just played every game, basically. Maryland won outright. UNC Greensboro, the play that we did have, that was an outright winner. They came close to blowing the game, but, I mean, I wasn't really expecting them to win the game outright because they're a horrible team, but they did. And then the Super Bowl, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, the game was, I think, like, early on, it was a low-scoring game early on, which is exactly what I thought was going to happen. It just so happened that the stupid touchback rule put Seattle at the 35 right out of the gate, and then they got a field goal on that first drive within the first whatever minutes, so that ended that bet. Whereas if I had played, even going under first quarter, under that really, really low number that was way too low in the first quarter, even that would have been correct. Under first half was correct. Second half higher scoring was correct. So the under in the full game was correct. So any way that you play the under besides mine basically hit. So I'm really fucking pissed about that. We did get the 3 straight scores correct pretty early on because Seattle had 3 field goals in a row to start the game, so that won. Then, George Halani got a reception at some point in the second quarter, and then he never had another one. We had the entire rest of the game, one more reception, and he can't do it. Some of it was because the Patriots could not make any adjustments. Their offensive play calling was absolutely stupid. Like, Vrabel should be gone. He should be fired. McDaniels should absolutely be fired. I mean, I hate McDaniels anyway, so he should be fucking gone. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, the Patriots had a couple of good rushing plays to start the game. That doesn't mean it's going to continue to work. Seattle usually stops the run. You have to attack Seattle's defensive weakness, which is that they play cover 2 constantly, and you have some open spots to kind of get through that, like in the middle of the field and stuff. That's what you can do because they try to stop anything from going over the top on them. So, yeah, take the underneath throws, move the football. No, that's not what they were doing. And I thought we were dead with the Drake May completions as well because he had like 6 in the entire first half. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I thought that was dead, but luckily the other way of getting that happen, which was that Seattle was winning pretty much in a blowout, and then May was just able to get a bunch of easy passes at the end in garbage time to get that thing over. So we did get that one. But I thought it was going to be more like the Patriots are going to be methodical, but I don't know what they were doing. They kept running the football. I'm like, what are you doing? And, like, dude, they were still in that game. They were down 6-0 almost right before halftime. You're in the game. Make the halftime adjustments. even at halftime, you're down 9-0. You're not done. Make the adjustments. Like, their defense was playing fine. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Then they come out. I think it was in the third quarter, right, where they had a 2nd and 1 near like midfield, and I'm like, all right, this drive is going well. And then they didn't even get a first down on that series of downs. What are you doing? Like, you cannot run the football into the middle of this defense. It's totally ridiculous. And then they punted. I mean, dude, I think they were down 19-7 at that point. They just had all the momentum. No, wait. It was still 19-0. I forget. But it was like, I don't know. It was a situation where you have to go for it. It's just like the analytics will tell you should go for it. I thought that these coaches in that situation would be going for it, but no, Vrabel doesn't even go for it on 4th down. They punt the ball away. Then the Patriots still looked like they were back in that game when they cut it to 19-7. They had the ball back and they were driving again. I'm like, holy shit, like they could cut this thing to 5 right now and we'll be pushing this number here. No, they throw an interception and then pretty much game over after that. That one resulted in a field goal, and then May threw a pick 6 after that, and then that was it. The game was not exactly what it appeared on the scoreboard, man. I know there were a lot of garbage time yards for the Patriots at the end to make the yardage battle look close. Yeah, obviously Seattle outplayed them, but the game was not as much of a blowout as it looked. Like, Seattle's defense was stalling out all over the place. Sam Darnold did not have a good game, and that's why he didn't get MVP. I thought they were going to give it to him anyway, but he was 50% completion percentage, 200 yards, 1 touchdown, and they didn't have a touchdown at all until the second half. They had 1 offensive touchdown in the game. Seattle did. The Patriots had more than that, too. Dude, I don't know. But we did have Kenneth Walker was able to get a lot of rushing yards. And part of that, again, was because the game got out of hand and they were running the football constantly, which, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say something else about that too. Like, yeah, I mean, because of that, that's why the game flow had to change for the Patriots, and they couldn't do that methodical offense that I thought they were going to do. I don't know what to tell you, man. But yeah, that's also why Helani didn't get a second catch, because Seattle had too big of a lead and they just ran the football. And Kenneth Walker became one of the rare 100-yard rushers, got the MVP, probably rightfully. Although, well, I don't know, because they just used him a ton because they were way ahead. But him being able to do that against a good Patriots rushing D, I didn't expect that. So that, yeah, I mean, part of the handicap is that the Patriots rushing D would be good. I don't know. So yeah, all right, yeah, he gets the MVP. You don't have a lot of 100-yard rushers in the Super Bowl now. So yeah, it was a good performance from him for sure. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I think that covered all the plays, right? Yeah, whatever. Not happy. Kyle, what's up? Jeff, what's up? The offensive line was terrible. Horrible. Myers for the MVP. Yeah, he had like 5 field goals. So maybe he should have had it. That was never going to happen, though, probably, because I think most of his field goals were pretty easy field goals. I don't know. It just never happens. I guess it was worth a shot. I don't know. I never liked those multi-tier bets like that, but I would not have had the running back for MVP, you know. I was thinking it was still going to be one of the quarterbacks. And I told you that the Gatorade color was going to be dependent on the team that won. So I know there were guys that liked yellow-green, and I think some of that had to do with the odds that the Seahawks were going to win the game, because I thought that was the color they were going to use, that the Seahawks would use, and they did. I don't know what the Patriots would have had on their sideline. I don't know if we could see it during the game. I thought it would be blue if it was them, which I thought was worth a shot on the Gatorade color, but I don't know. And I think I was right about no hat with Bad Bunny, right? I don't think he was wearing a hat. I didn't watch it at all. Total crap. Both halftime shows are crap. You're gonna make me choose, dude. It's like the big party duopoly in halftime show form. Do you want the Democrats one or the Republicans one? I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm just not gonna watch either one. How about that? Because I'm not forced to have to watch either one. So that's the difference. You're forced to have one of them ruling you, but you're not forced to watch either halftime show. So I did not. I wasn't even watching the game, to be honest. I was fucking pissed. I turned it off. I'm not watching that shit. All right, let's get into today. Okay. I want to try to get through this, man. There's a decent-sized NBA board. I only have one play, and it's in college basketball. I don't like the board today a whole lot. I do have some leans in college basketball. 4 o'clock p.m., there's this game with St. Francis at Chicago State in the Northeast Conference, and my handicap on this is these two teams already played, and St. Francis won by 21 at home, so there is the potential they might just overlook Chicago State because Chicago State is awful. But also, St. Francis did just go to Lemoyne, and they played really tough against Lemoyne. I think Lemoyne were actually probably like several point favorites in that game, and St. Francis came close to pulling off the upset in that game, only losing by 2. Now they're coming up of that and playing a third straight road game, so I don't like how it sets up for St. Francis, man. I know Chicago State is bad, but believe it or not, Ken Pom actually has Chicago State being the better of these two teams. Hang on. Yeah, as bad as Chicago State is, Ken Pom actually has them 2 ranking spots higher than St. Francis, believe it or not. And Chicago State slows the game down. St. Francis speeds it up. Chicago State is coming off a win against New Haven, coming back home, where they did win their last home game. So I think it sets up better for Chicago State. That would be my lean in that game. Chicago State, wherever. I don't know where it's probably on the extra games because it's such a bad game. They're up from 2 to 2.5. I mean, I wouldn't want to let that get too high. Maybe you can find a decent money line on it too. I don't know, but Chicago State would be my opinion in that one. And then I don't believe St. Francis has a bigger game next, although, no, it's just Fairleigh Dickinson, so whatever. But they are a team that's ahead of them in the standings, which Chicago State is not. CBS Sports has Navy at Bucknell. Probably, I don't know if when they scheduled this, they thought Bucknell would be a decent team in the Patriot League. I mean, nobody's actually decent in the Patriot League, but, you know, as far as Patriot League is concerned. But Bucknell is having a terrible season. However, I don't like the spot for Navy. They already beat Bucknell by 21 at home. Another 21-point home win that we're talking about here. So they might overlook Bucknell for that reason, but also they're coming off a pretty good win over American, who is sort of in the running for the Patriot League here, although they have fallen back a little bit. But that was a good win for Navy against American. It was also a revenge game, so it was actually pretty big because American was the only team that beat Navy in conference play this season, so they got revenge for that. So now they have no unavenged losses. And after this, they got to play Colgate, who is the staple of this conference and is the only team that can really catch them potentially at this point in the Patriot League. So that's a big game coming up next against Colgate, and the first time they play this year. So Navy is in a sandwich spot in this one, man. And as far as Bucknell is concerned, they're coming off a loss to Colgate, but it was pretty much a blowout loss. So I would play Bucknell in this game if I was going to play it. The line did move up from 6.5 to 7 on Navy. I don't really understand it. Don't have this as a play, although, you know, I'm kind of considering it. I like Bucknell here. 134 is the total. It's a low total. What does Ken Pom say about this? I know Bucknell is really bad, though. Yeah, I mean, they're better defensively than offensively, at least, but they're outside the top 300. A little bit lucky. They play slow. Navy also plays slow, but a slow-paced game, taking the points makes sense. And Navy is much more of a defensive team than an offensive team, so it's not like they're a team that could really blow you away as a road favorite like this. They're also really high in the luck index, actually, at 45th. Let me see. I'm going to see what Ken Pom has this number at real quick here. Buy Ken Pom, by the way. It's definitely worth it. He's got this number at 7, so it's like pretty much right in line with this. Am I going to add a college basketball play here on the fly? I kind of like it, man. And it's a TV game for people who want a TV game here. Yeah, let's do it. Bucknell plus 7.5. Hang on. maybe we're getting a little bit crazy here, but yes, let's do it. There you go. First game on the board that I have for a play, Bucknell. I already leaned that way, but looking at it a little bit further, adding in the fact that that was a huge revenge game against American, yeah, we'll go with Bucknell in that one, plus the 7.5. All right. Fox Sports 1, 6:30 p.m., Xavier and St. John's, number 22 St. John's. My first thought about this game was, well, St. John's is in a massive letdown spot, and I do think that's true. They're coming off beating UConn. I mean, huge win. First time they played UConn this season. I told you I liked St. John's in that game. I was not right about the under, but St. John's got the win. Huge win. Now they get Xavier. My problem with this is, yes, it is a huge letdown spot, and that is the main situational component here. I would still play Xavier here if I was going to play it, but I have a few issues with it. I mean, number one, I would prefer it if St. John's had a bigger game up next, but they don't. They're playing Well, actually, you know what? St. John's, maybe I will do this. Dude, I'm going to add a bunch of plays on the fly here. Oh, my God. Now that I look at this more, St. John's has Providence next. I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. But St. John's has one conference loss. Who was that loss to? Oh, yeah, it was at home to Providence. So that game is actually big. Oh, no. Oh, my God. This is what I get when I don't pay attention, man, or when I do pay more attention. Then I'm going to start adding more plays on the fly here. The one problem I do still have with it maybe is that St. John's, they did beat Xavier on the road, but they didn't cover. So Xavier actually kind of gave them a run for their money in this game, man. It was a close game. Xavier was actually blowing St. John's out in this game, and St. John's had to come back and win the game close at the end. So that game might have St. John's taking Xavier seriously, but they did still win. It was at Xavier, and they're actually in a sandwich spot here. I mean, they do get to host a TV game. By the way, that does help Bucknell's case, by the way, getting to host a TV game. That's a bigger deal for a home game like that. But it's Monday night, it's not Friday night or anything like that. It's not a big deal. I might add a play here. Actually, Ken Baum worries me about this, though, because Ken Baum has St. John's winning this game by like 17. They are a 15.5-point favorite. 50% of the tickets and 97% of the cash are on Xavier. I'm thinking. Yeah. I like Xavier. Xavier would be the way I would play this game. I would take the points. Total's pretty high, though, at 160. Both teams like to play fast, so that's why that's the case. St. John's is definitely the better team, obviously. They have the better defense, of course. I don't know, man. This one, very, very close, just because it is a revenge game coming up for St. John's against Providence. But their prior game against Xavier does worry me a little bit. Yeah, uncovering winners. They better be winners, man. I don't know. I don't know if they will be. Looking at Ken Baum. Let me look at Ken Baum real quick on this. St. John's is a pretty unlucky team, but I knew that. I keep telling you St. John's is actually underrated. Even some professionals are not buying St. John's. And Ken Baum is telling you they're a way more balanced team this year than last. Like, they have a better offense this year, better offensive efficiency numbers. So they're pretty balanced. They're top 25 in both. Xavier, of course, is not good, but they are balanced at the very least. They're not lopsided towards offense or defense. They're pretty lucky in Ken Baum's luck index, though. So that's why I think Ken Baum has this number being higher than what the number actually is. I'll leave it off, but man, that's close. It is close. I like Xavier in that one plus the points. All right, I'm going to skip some of these. We got a lot of SWAC action, SWAction. The SWAC doesn't really, the SWAC doesn't get me going, man, unless I really, really can find a spot in the SWAC to figure something out, but I don't really see any angles in it today. We do have an ESPN game at 7 p.m. that's a good one between NC State and number 24 Louisville in the ACC. NC State playing through here. They beat Virginia Tech last week. I believe they did not cover, although they came close to covering. I thought it was kind of a bad spot for NC State, but they did win. Thought they might be looking ahead to this game. they will still show up. It's a game against Louisville. It's a big game. Big game for both teams. Louisville is a pretty unpredictable team, man. I mean, they're high variance because they take a ton of three-pointers. They're coming off kind of a close call at Wake. Wake definitely got up for that game and played pretty well in that game. Louisville won by 8. Louisville, what was the number on this? Yeah, so Louisville did not cover the closing number in that one. Coming off of that, maybe a little bit more of a lackluster game for Louisville there. NC State maybe having to play a bit more of a difficult game there because Virginia Tech is at least fighting to try to make the tournament here. Louisville's up from 6 to 6.5 here. There is a reason why Louisville's favored by this much. Even though I think NC State is a strong team, man. Louisville also is. It's just, again, they're high variance. Ken Pom has Louisville 5 ranking spots higher. He's got both teams in the top 25. Yeah, let me see. Both teams better on offense and defense. Louisville's the somewhat more lucky team, but nothing really crazy there. I'm just going through it in my head here, man, real quick. And both teams, of course, play fast. I mean, I guess I'll lean to Louisville in that one. I don't have a strong opinion on the side, though. 64% of tickets, 69% of the cash on Louisville there. I probably would not disagree with an over in that one just because of the style of play there. I mean, there's a reason why it's 162, which is pretty high, but that's the total. I mean, both teams play fast and are better on offense than defense, so I don't know. Don't have much else to say about that. Very, very odd that Yale is playing an out-of-conference game here against Howard. Howard might be the best team in the MEAC, but of course Yale is way, way better than Howard. But are they really going to pay attention to Howard? I don't know. The problem is Yale, they're coming off an easy win over Brown, and they only have Dartmouth next, and they already beat Dartmouth, so I don't know. They're not really in a bad spot here, but they might overlook Howard as well. But Howard is beginning to establish themselves in the MEAC. Terrible conference. So this will be a big game for Howard probably, though. It's not on TV or anything. It is on ESPN+. It's a weird game. I just noticed it because I'm like, why is Yale playing an out-of-conference game? Yale's up from a 9 to 9.5 point favorite here. I might lean towards taking the points with Howard. I think for Yale, it's just a game where they might just overlook Howard anyway because it's like, oh, we're playing this lesser conference team, like whatever. Howard considers it to be a step up in class where it's a bigger game for them, I would say. And Howard's coming off an easy win over a bad South Carolina State team. So total low in the 140s. I would probably take the points with Howard in that one, but really no strong opinion on that at all. All right, let's go to my last of the best bets here. And we are going to take the points with another home underdog here. This one doesn't get a TV billing, but we're going to be on North Alabama +7 in the Atlantic Sun against a Central Arkansas team that's playing well. This number's already ticked down from 8 to 7. It's a pretty low total at 149, so I don't mind that. Although I know Ken Pom's numbers don't really look great here, although I think he has this number right at 7, so I think I'm okay with that. Central Arkansas is actually a decent team in the 160s. Balanced on offense and defense, not very lucky, and a fairly slow tempo team, though, so that's the thing. North Alabama is also slow, but Ken Pom does have them as a lucky team, and they are a bad defense, so that does worry me a bit. They're actually very bad, like a bottom 25 team in the country, but we're getting a bunch of points at home, and I'm going to show you what the spot looks like in a second, which I think is a bad spot for a whole bunch of reasons, but the one good thing that we have going for us is it's a low total, so that might help this game stay low scoring and ugly here. I don't know how much I buy Central Arkansas, though Ken Pom does have them moving up in the standings. He's got them decently competitive right now, along with Lipscomb, Austin Peay, possibly better than Queens. Now, if you look at what Central Arkansas just did, though, they're on this huge win streak, I know. They've won 7 games in a row. They're really, really hot right now. But they just beat Lipscomb, man. That was a monster win. Lipscomb, of course, the team that won the conference last year. They've won it, I believe, 2 of the last 3 as well. Big, big win. And that was even bigger because Lipscomb was the team that eliminated Central Arkansas last year. And it was actually triple revenge for Central Arkansas. They lost to Lipscomb all 3 games last year, home and away during the regular season. The away game was the final game of the season, and then again on the road during the tournament, in the quarterfinals of the tournament. So Lipscomb was the team that ended Central Arkansas's season last year. So that was a big win for them against Lipscomb for a bunch of reasons. Lipscomb also still one of the better teams in the conference this year as well. They had one loss in conference, I believe, until that, or maybe two. Huge win for Central Arkansas. Now they get North Alabama, who they already beat easily. Where is that game? Oh, yeah, it was right before the Lipscomb game. They beat them by 20. Why is it always 21? What, are we playing? Dude, what is this, a game of blackjack? Every one of these teams that I've looked at had a 21, except for St. John's. But this is 3 teams that are playing a team that they already beat by 21 in a previous matchup at home. 3. Like, what is going on here, man? St. Francis, Central Arkansas, and whatever the other one that I'm fading, not American, Navy. Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very strange. That was right before the Lipscomb game, so obviously this is almost a zigzag spot because it just happened. They just easily beat North Alabama, so they could easily overlook North Alabama here. Now, they have Bellarmine coming up, but Bellarmine, they're bad, but they're actually in, like, 5th place in the conference, and I think the main reason why I would consider this to be a look ahead is Central Arkansas has 2 losses on the season. Okay. Whoops. Don't want to go to that video. Not porn. It was a Central Arkansas basketball video. It's what I jerk off to, though. It's my porn. No. Central Arkansas, they had 2 losses this season in conference. One of them was an overtime game to Eastern Kentucky. They beat Eastern Kentucky right before North Alabama, so they got their revenge on Eastern Kentucky already. Now they only have 1 unavenged loss in conference now. Who is that against? Oh, yeah, it was at Bellarmine in overtime. So that's the team that they play next. So I think they may very well look right past North Alabama into that game. This game has a lot going for it, man. I like it. We're going to be on North Alabama +7 in this one. Yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about that, but I think it's a bad spot. It's a good spot to make this play, man. So that's what we're going with, North Alabama plus the points. Hopefully they get it done for us because I know I was wrong about North Alabama with a lean earlier this year, but it was not a play for me. All right, if you want me to talk about any of these other games, I can, but a lot of these games are very uninteresting to me. We got some Southland games, some Missouri Valley games. I like the Missouri Valley, but some of these games are just ugly, except for this one, Belmont and Bradley. This is a big game. And unfortunately, the 2 good teams in the Southland are playing bad teams, so they're both massive favorites. Belmont and Bradley is going to be a pretty good game, though. Belmont, first place in the Missouri Valley. I believe they are the best team in the Missouri Valley. Bradley's 3rd. Bradley's still a team to be reckoned with in this conference. These teams did already play. Belmont won at home against Bradley by 10 already. I still think both teams are going to show up for this one, though. Belmont is kind of on cruise control right now. They just get a win over Illinois-Chicago, which was a decent win because Illinois-Chicago was on fire, and now they've stalled out. But they were playing well, so that was still a decent win. But I still don't really think Belmont's going to overlook Bradley. Of course, Bradley will not overlook this game either, and they are coming off a pretty hideous loss to a very good defensive team in northern Iowa, who is probably better than they look. It's just these defensive teams that don't play offense really look ugly. Belmont is up from a 2-point favorite to a 2.5-point favorite. I would probably lean towards taking the points with Bradley, though. 88% of tickets, 100% of the cash on Belmont. I just think the spot might set up a little bit better for Bradley, coming off a disgusting loss where they didn't even get to 50 against an extremely good defense, though. Northern Iowa is the best defense in this conference. It's just their offense reeks. So they're a very imbalanced team. Belmont, much more balanced team, but Bradley might be able to get that one done at home, man. All right, and then we have Illinois State and Evansville. I skipped over that, but it's a little bit interesting. Illinois State just beat Drake, which is kind of whatever. So they're rolling into this game against Evansville, but they embarrassed Evansville already this year, 73-47 at Illinois State. So they might not take Evansville seriously for that reason. But this game's only surrounded by Drake and Valpo. Those are not big games, really. Although I believe Illinois State did actually lose to Valpo. Yeah, they did. So maybe they will actually look ahead to Valpo. They actually lost at Valpo. So there is the potential they look ahead to that game. which this is why I don't want to play this game, but I also think Evansville is in a pretty difficult spot, although, yeah, they're doing so poorly this season, they're probably going to get up for every game that they can, but they just had an in-state rivalry game against Valpo. I think Evansville's going to get up, especially for all these Indiana teams, and they played pretty well against Valpo. They lost by 7, but I think Valpo got some free throws at the end of that game or something, because that game was close. Evansville, the Purple Aces, almost pulled off that upset. I think they were about 8.5-point underdogs, I want to say, in that one. They did cover. So they were coming off a big performance themselves, so I'm not going to get involved in this game. Really don't like the spot for Evansville, though, really coming off of that performance that they just had against Valpo, though. Against the Valpo Beacons, or I will continue to make fun of that name, because you can't be the Crusaders anymore, man. Any reference to Christianity, nope, you're gone. You're out of there. You can't do that. Nope. You have to be the Beacons. Oh, yeah, okay. Nicholls State versus Texas Rio Grande Valley. Yeah, I could talk about that. Let me see here. This game, I was just going to look at the market read real quick. Illinois State's up to a 9.5-point favorite. Well, they're sitting at 9.5. It hasn't moved, actually. 75% of tickets, 83% of the cash on Illinois State. It's a tough call in that one. I'd probably lay it with Illinois State, but I mean, that's a very, very weak opinion of mine. Rio Grande Valley and Nicholls. Actually, this one is actually probably the only decent game in the Southland, to be honest. Because, yeah, Stephen F. Austin and McNeese are both playing cupcakes. Although there is the potential they could slip up in some game. But you're right, this is a pretty good game between two of the teams in the top half of the conference. Rio Grande Valley lost at home to Nicholls already, so I don't really think they're going to overlook Nicholls because of that. They already lost them at home. Nicholls is right behind them in the standings. They're basically tied, so I don't really see either team overlooking this game. Rio Grande Valley is on a huge win streak. 8 wins in a row is what this is. 7, whatever it is. They've won a bunch of games in a row. 7, I think. So, yeah, they're on a roll right now. It is a second straight road game, though, and it's a 5th road game in 6 games, so that doesn't make it that easy. Correct, they have Stephen F. Austin on deck, but because they did lose at home to Nicholls, I don't really see this as an overlook spot, but they might be getting tired out by the end of this. Nicholls is coming off a pretty decent game themselves. They played A&M Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Pretty decent team in this conference. That was a big game. Nicholls lost the game by 7. They were a favorite, though, so Nicholls is actually coming off a home loss as a favorite, although it was a pretty big game for them. Yeah, I have a difficult time trying to read this game, to be honest. Rio Grande Valley is a 2-point favorite in this one on the road. Let me see. I mean, based on the records, it looks like they should be the favorites, so there's no real, it's not like a surprising line or anything like that. I don't have a good opinion on this one at all, to be honest. I guess I would very, very slightly agree with Nicholls in that one, just based on how many road games Rio Grande Valley has played recently. I don't really see them overlooking a team that beat them in their own house, though. That's the thing. So it's Rio Grande Valley is in a road revenge spot here, which is usually a positive angle, but I also don't think Nicholls will really overlook them either. So, yeah, I mean, very, very difficult read in that game. And you could definitely make the argument that if both teams are kind of in iffy situational spots and whatever, that you could make the argument that Rio Grande Valley should be the right side here because they're actually the better team and they're favored on the road. And that home loss that they had, based on the fact they're a 2-point favorite here, they must have been a pretty big favorite in this one and lost the game. Actually, they're only 3.5. Very, very strange. These teams don't get a lot of home court advantage, but I expected it to be more than that. So that's actually a little bit strange. So the 2-point line, I don't know if there are injuries or something, but that 2-point line actually does seem like it might be a little bit high. I don't know. I can see what Ken Palm says about this. But yeah, this game is not going to be anyone that's going to be on my card. He has Rio Grande Valley 100 ranking spots higher than Nicholls, and he has them winning this game by 3. So I think maybe they were pretty undervalued in that first game. So Yeah, I mean, I'm not very tempted to fade Rio Grande Valley in this one. They have a pretty decent offense, close to being top 100. Unlucky, according to KenPom. They're in the bottom 60 or so teams in luck. Both teams somewhat mid-tempo. Nichols is the significantly worse defense, and they're the luckier team. So that would worry me about Nichols for sure. Yeah, I have a lot of concerns about that one. Rio Grande Valley is the better team, somewhat substantially, according to KenPom. All right. So yeah, I don't even know which way I would want to lean. Like situationally, I think Nichols does have the edge. The numbers are saying Rio Grande Valley, so it's one of those games where things just don't align for me. So yeah, I have to stay away from it. It might be a decent game to watch though. It'll be on ESPN Plus. CBS Sports has probably a matchup between, well, two of at least the top few teams in the Colonial, UNC Wilmington and Charleston. They are sitting atop the conference, tied right now. Hofstra is moving up, man. I told you Hofstra is one of the best teams in this conference. We'll see what I have with my bracketology today because I do it based on power ratings and stuff for these lower conferences. We'll see. UNC Wilmington is coming off a big game, though, already. They lost to William & Mary and got swept by William & Mary. So I think they showed up for that game. Just William & Mary might match up well with them. I don't know what that was, but that was a big game. So they are having to play two big games in a row. It's going to be a fourth road game in 5 games. So there are some things I don't like about this for Wilmington. A couple of big games. It means you have to max out your effort 2 games in a row. A lot of road games here. Maybe the one positive is that they are technically coming off a home loss as a favorite. They were about 5-point favorites in that game. And sometimes teams will bounce back when that's the case. But it doesn't look like a very easy setup to me for Wilmington. Charleston's coming off a very easy win and staying at home. They just beat NCAAB. Who cares? They do have Hofstra on deck, but they're not going to overlook UNC Wilmington. And these two teams haven't played yet this season. They play again late in the season. Charleston has gone up from a 1-point favorite to a 2-point favorite, but they're public. 80% of the tickets, only 68% of the cash. It looks like the market read is saying to take Wilmington, but I don't really agree. I'm kind of leaning Charleston in that game. I think Wilmington might be a little bit overrated, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't know why the market read is looking the way that it's looking. Although Charleston is a very lucky team, actually, according to KenPom. They're balanced. They're sort of mid-tier in both offense and defense, but they're not really bad at anything. But they are very lucky, according to KenPom. They do play fast. Wilmington plays really slow. So if Charleston's going to be able to speed up the game, that might throw Wilmington out of their element. Wilmington is actually the worst defensive team, believe it or not, even though they play slow. And they're pretty lucky, according to KenPom, too, although not as lucky as Charleston, who's like a top 15 luck team. But I don't know. I would still probably lean Charleston in that one. Although, actually, yeah, KenPom does have Wilmington as the better team overall, though, at 115 versus 150-something or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. Difficult game for me to figure out. Oregon at Indiana, Fox Sports 1. We got this Big Ten game. I first was looking at this game, and I'm like, this is a horrible spot for Oregon because they're playing these back-to-back road games in Indiana, but I think they just had the big one, man, against Purdue, and they almost upset Purdue in Purdue. Purdue not playing particularly well at home this year, man. They've been vulnerable at home, and usually that's not the case at all, but Oregon were huge underdogs in this game, 19.5-point underdogs, and they almost upset Purdue. Oregon was winning this game in the final minutes of the game. It was a low-scoring game. Yeah, Oregon had the lead with a couple minutes to go, and they fell just short. So you got to think they're going to be in a massive flat spot here. The problem is I don't love the spot for Indiana either here. Indiana just beat Wisconsin. That's a decent win for Indiana, and I believe it was an overtime game as well. And Oregon's just been pitiful, so they're very easy to overlook. And they have Illinois next. Indiana does. So that's a big game. And Purdue after that. So they have 2 huge games on deck. So I can't get there with Indiana, even though I probably do lean to Indiana here because I just don't really see Oregon having anything left after that game against Purdue. But I don't think the spot's good enough to lay a bunch of points with Indiana here either, man. So I can't do it. That game against Wisconsin, by the way, it was, I don't know if you saw the end of that game, but yeah, there were some questionable foul calls at the end of that game that helped Indiana win that game. So I don't know, man. Indiana is getting the money, it looks like, after they dropped from 11-point favorite to a 10.5-point favorite. 73% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on Indiana. I don't disagree with Indiana in that one, but I think both teams are in bad spots. But if you force me to give you a lean, I would lay it with Indiana, but I'm not going to get there with it. Oregon might be able to muddy that thing up enough to cover the spread. I don't know. It is a big spread, and it's a low total in the 140s. Indiana does like to play faster than Oregon does, I believe, but Oregon just, they could muddy up any game, really, just based on their style of play. It is easier to slow the game down. Indiana actually does play fairly slow as well. I keep forgetting that because I'm used to them being more of a fast team, but they actually play pretty slow as well. So that might not be helpful for them to cover the number. ESPN, the second game of the doubleheader is the biggest game of the night. Number 1, Arizona at number 11, Kansas. This is a monster game in the Big 12. Arizona's still undefeated. They looked very, very good in crushing Oklahoma State by almost 40 points at Arizona. But Oklahoma State was coming off that huge win that we had as a winner on the show over BYU. So they're kind of in a bit of a letdown spot there. Wasn't the greatest spot for Oklahoma State, man. So I think the public is just I think they're too ferocious on Arizona right now, man. Like, look at Arizona's conference schedule so far. It's actually been ridiculously easy. They beat Utah, Kansas State, TCU, Arizona State, UCF on the road, not that easy, but still. Cincinnati, West Virginia, at BYU was a difficult one. Arizona State again, Oklahoma State. So, like, they haven't played anybody yet, basically. Now look at this run of 4 games they have. Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, Houston. And then they have Kansas and Iowa State after Baylor. This is a gauntlet, man. There's no way Arizona gets through the rest of the season undefeated. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. And this is a spot where maybe they do get caught. They look too good. Kansas, I believe, is better than BYU. So I think this might be the best team they've faced in a long time. Best in conference play. Probably the best team that they've played since, I don't know. I mean, Duke, maybe. How many teams have they played that or UConn, I guess. I was going to say, how many teams have they played that KenPom has as better than Kansas? I think only UConn. Oh, and I guess Florida, but that was really early in the season. And that was a good win for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they were fairly battle-tested out of conference. Duke there, and then Tennessee, North Carolina. Those teams aren't as good as we think they are. They beat Alabama somewhere in here too, I think. But, oh, they did beat, my mistake, they beat Iowa State before official conference play actually started, I guess. So, oh, no, I was just not looking far back enough. Yeah, they did beat Iowa State once at home, so that was a good win as well. But really, they have had a weak conference schedule, and now they're running into a bunch of the best teams in the conference, man. Oh, no, wait, that was Kansas. What am I looking at? What the fuck am I looking at? Yeah, Arizona. My mistake. Arizona. Yeah, UConn was probably the best team they beat. Yeah. Dude, I'm so out of it right now. Yeah, so looking at the teams that Arizona beat, Florida, again, like I said, I did remember that correctly. But basically, they haven't played anybody as good as Kansas since they played Connecticut. So they've had, I'm right. They've had a very, very, very weak schedule. Now they run into Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas is a very good defensive team. Arizona's very good on both sides of the ball. There's no doubt about it. They're better than Kansas on both sides of the ball. But Kansas can match them defensively. They're both top 10 defensive teams. Kansas is going to probably try to slow this thing down a bit. Arizona wants to speed it up. Kansas will probably be able to slow it down because it's easier to do that. And Arizona is higher than Kansas in the luck index, although they're both kind of lucky this season. But Kansas has faced a more difficult schedule, man. If you look at Arizona's strength of schedule, yeah, it's significantly weaker. Kansas has faced the third most difficult schedule, which is what I did just have up. So there are some things that I like about Kansas here, man. Arizona looks too good right now, and Kansas, I mean, they have had a more difficult schedule, man. That's the schedule I was looking at. They beat Iowa State. They beat BYU. They beat Texas Tech on the road. So they've actually faced more of a difficult conference schedule so far, done well. And they're coming off a lackluster game against Utah. But remember, I gave Utah out on Saturdays of play because Kansas was coming off the huge upset against Texas Tech. They had the big win over BYU before that, and they had Arizona and Iowa State looming up next. So it was a sandwich spot for Kansas. I think Arizona looks too good, and they have not been battle tested in quite a while. I like Kansas in this one, man. Arizona's up from 2 to 2.5 here. You might be able to get 3 on Kansas. I think that's pushing it a little bit. I think Ken Baum, does have the number around 2 or 3 in this game, but I like Kansas. 81% of tickets, 77% of the cash on Arizona. So they're a very, very public team. I like it, man. What might be a bit of a slower defensive game, although the total's in the 150s. Kansas at home in what I think is probably a better spot. Yeah, I like Kansas plus the points in that one. Wouldn't shock me if Arizona finally takes their first loss in this one, man. Alabama State at Southern. For some reason, we get a SWAC game on ESPNU, although it's not the worst SWAC game. Southern is one of the better teams in the conference this year. Alabama State won it last year. Alabama State did just lose to Grambling and only scored 47 points. They're coming off an ugly loss. I mean, maybe this is the potential they were looking ahead because Southern is one of the top teams in the conference right now. For Southern, they're coming into this one on a little bit of a roll. They beat Alabama A&M in the last game. I don't know what I would do with this game, to be honest. I believe Alabama State did beat Southern. I don't know if it was during the regular. I can look. I don't know if it was during the regular season or if it was during the conference tournament last year. But Alabama State did win the conference tournament last year. They did not play Southern during the tournament. They played them in the second to last regular season game and beat them. And they beat them twice last year, but in really close games by 1 point each time. So they played really close games last year. But Alabama State, the game went their way both times. Maybe Southern will be in a little bit of a double revenge mode here. There is a reason why Southern's an 8-point favorite here. They're up from 7 to 8. I would probably lay it with Southern in that one. I mean, it looks kind of ridiculous to lay points like that, too, in a bad SWAC game like this. And the public, if they're going to play this game because it's a TV game, they're not really going to want to lay points with a team that's below 500 overall. But Ken Baum is telling you there is a decent gap, or not Ken Baum, the odds makers, probably both, telling you there is a decent gap between these two teams this year. So I would probably lay it with Southern. And then CBS Sports has a decent Missouri Valley game late at night, degenerate hours. And it's not even a Western game, man. So it's going to be a little bit out of the ordinary for teams in the central time zone here to be playing a game this late. But they are. Northern Iowa at Murray State. These teams did already play, and Northern Iowa actually won the game at home by 5, so maybe a little bit of a revenge motive for Murray State. Northern Iowa coming off a nice win over Bradley where they completely beat them down defensively. They got Belmont on deck. They're not really going to overlook Murray State, I don't think, though, because Murray State is still right near the top of the standings, but I think Murray State sets up better in this game. They're coming off an easier win over Southern Illinois. Don't have anything really on deck with Indiana State next. And Murray State in a little bit of maybe a revenge capacity in this one. So I would prefer Murray State in this game, but it's not a strong opinion. Money seems like it does agree. They're up from 4.5 to 5 here. 67% of tickets, 82% of the cash on Murray State. Totals in the 140s. So the cash is on the Murray State side. Now, Murray State likes to play really fast, though, and Northern Illinois wants to go really, really slow. Murray State is atrocious defensively, and Northern Iowa is very good defensively. So these are opposite end of spectrum type of teams, man. Kind of the typical matchup where you have Northern Iowa as a slow-down defensive team that can't score, and Murray State's a fast-paced team, the Racers, who score and they can't defend. So it's like, which one is going to win out in this game is the question. Murray State probably will because they are the better team. They are at home. But the team that has the better defense that significantly getting points, though, is usually worth consideration at the very least. So this is not a game that I want to have anything to do with, although I do slightly lean towards laying it with Murray State. All right, I will be right back, and then I'm going to look at the NBA real quick. I don't have a play in the NBA today, though I don't love the board, unfortunately. 1 second. Whoops. I'll bring up the, hold on, I'll bring up the NBA, yeah. There we go. That's most of the games at the very least. 1 second. Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. With I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? All right, we're back. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, let's get to NBA here, and then I will, then I'll be done for the day. All right, Detroit at Charlotte. This is a game where I think Detroit is in a letdown spot here. I think Charlotte may be able to continue their run in this one. Detroit is coming off absolutely embarrassing the Knicks in Detroit by 38 points, and Detroit, of course, got eliminated by the Knicks from the playoffs last year as well, so that was a monster win. I think they have already beaten the Knicks at least once this year, but that was a monster win. They're starting a road trip, and I know teams starting a road trip usually do show up focused in that first game, and maybe they will because Charlotte's been really hot, but this looks like a letdown spot for me. And they got Toronto and then the Knicks again on deck, and those are teams that are definitely headed to the playoffs. So, playoffs. I would have to lean towards Charlotte in this one, but the money is not agreeing with me. Charlotte, by the way, they did just beat Atlanta, which I thought was going to be a bad spot for them, man. That was a loss for me on the show because they were coming off that huge Houston game. They had Detroit on deck, but they still beat Atlanta. They escaped against Atlanta. Atlanta, a couple-point underdogs in that one, could not get it done. I would lean to Charlotte here in this one, the way this thing sets up, though. Money not agreeing, though. Like I said, Pistons up from 2.5 to 2.5 with juice. 67% of the tickets, 98% of the cash on the Pistons. I do not agree with that. The Hornets actually might be my strongest lean in the NBA today, to be honest. That's how bad the NBA board is today. I would take the Hornets plus the points in that one. Chicago at Brooklyn. I believe Chicago is still without Josh Giddey again. He has not been playing for the last couple of games. Chicago's on a 4-game losing streak. They're on a bad skid right now. They pretty much just unloaded at the trade deadline. They got rid of White and whatever, so they seem to be kind of in a rebuilding mode here. Now, when you're losing all these games, I don't think you're going to show up unfocused, but they do have the Celtics next, which is a bigger game, although they did beat the Celtics at home right before the trade deadline. So I don't know if they're going to be looking ahead or not, but it's easy to overlook Brooklyn, man. Although when you're losing every game, maybe we'll show up and be like, okay, we can win this game. Let's win it. Brooklyn just ended a losing streak, though, with a win over Washington, where Brooklyn was actually like a 6-point favorite in that game. And they caught Washington off of that huge upset that Washington pulled against Detroit, I believe, which was a win here on the show, by the way. So Brooklyn did end some more losing momentum. Maybe give them some new momentum coming into this one. Although the last time they did that, they got absolutely destroyed the last time they did that. But it was against Detroit on the road, and it was ending a road trip. So, I don't know. A little bit of a different scenario there. I think this spot does set up a little bit better for the Nets in this one. Bulls are up from 2.5 to 3.5 with juice. 96% of tickets on them. 100% of the cash, likely not accurate. I guess lean towards taking the points with the Nets, but I'm not going to net whisper on that one, man. There's no way. That game is just awful. Utah at Miami. Utah is coming off almost pulling off an upset at Orlando in this Florida part of their journey here. They're ending a road trip with this game, and sometimes you get a little bit tired out at the end of the road trip, although they might want to try to salvage the last game here of a losing road trip where they're 1-3 on the road trip. But they were pretty big underdogs against Orlando, and they almost pulled it off, only losing by 3. And you know, I talk about when a team was a big underdog like that and they almost pulled it off, they usually come up flat in the next game. But maybe in this case they won't, because Miami did just completely embarrass them back on January 24th in Utah by 31. That was Utah without Markkanen, I'm pretty sure, because he just came back more recently, and I believe he's still there for them right now. So maybe Utah will show up for that reason. So there are definitely conflicting factors in this one where I don't want to deal with this game at all. Utah is really atrocious on the road, though. 6-20 on the road is just awful. Straight up, though. If you play them, you only need them to cover in this one. Miami is decent at home at 16-10 straight up. But again, obviously, if you're playing Utah here, you're taking the points with them. Tyler Hero might come back, so that's another thing to look at here, man. He did not travel with them for their trip, but he may come back in this one. He hasn't played for almost a month now. So that's another thing to be aware of, man. If Hero is going to come back in this game, he might not be a hero right away. And it's tough when you have that guy coming back who kind of runs the offense. He's got to get used to it again. Maybe they would work him back in more slowly. I don't know. But the line has to adjust if he's coming back. So if he does come back, it could be a bit of a reverse injured player theory for Miami. So that is something to be aware of and to be looking out for if Hero is going to come back in this game or not. The Heat are down from 9.5 to 7.5, so it looks like maybe he's not going to play in this one. 67% of tickets, 57% of the cash on the Heat, so the money is indicating on the Jazz. I will, I guess, agree with that, but it's not something I want to have anything to do with. The Heat just crushed Washington, not a big deal, and they only have New Orleans on deck, so this game is not surrounded by anything big for the Heat, so no real good opinion from me on that one. Milwaukee at Orlando. This game is on Peacock, part of the Peacock doubleheader, where the second game is a better game, or it would be if players weren't injured. Milwaukee just beat Indiana. They're on a 3-game win streak, believe it or not, without Giannis there. Maybe getting through the trade deadline might have helped Milwaukee's mindset, because now there's no question mark, what's going to happen with Giannis. Now they know we're keeping him and we're going to try to rebuild a team around him here. So that might be good. It gives them some stability. They're starting a road trip. Usually teams going to focus when they're starting a road trip. So they might be focused with momentum here. Orlando is coming off a close call against Utah, though, and staying at home. And a lot of times when a big favorite doesn't play that well, they'll show up with more intensity in the next game as well. For Orlando, of course, this is the case with the NBA all over the place, man. We have to be aware of what's going on with the injury status, and in this case, it would be with Franz Wagner, who is now questionable. I don't know if he's going to come back or not, but he has not played since almost a month ago. So if Wagner comes back, that would be maybe a little bit of a wrench being thrown into Orlando's chemistry just briefly while they have to get him used to the game again, whatever. He's not really their best player. He's probably their second best player, though. And it looks like he probably is actually going to play based on where this line is right now, but it's hard to gauge how much the odds makers downgrade the Bucks for not having Giannis. Magic up from 9.5 to 10.5 here. 57% of tickets, 86% of the cash on the Magic. So the money is coming in on the Magic. I don't really know if I would agree with that, though. If Wagner comes back and it becomes sort of a reverse injured player spot for the Magic and they're laying a couple too many points because of it, maybe the chemistry is not quite there yet. He's not quite up to speed again yet. I don't know. I might kind of have to lean towards taking the points with the Bucks, even though the Magic are coming off barely winning as a favorite, but I don't have a good opinion on that game either. This is what I was telling you. This board is awful for the way that I do things. Atlanta at Minnesota. Atlanta is coming off that loss to Charlotte. Charlotte's been hot, but still not a great loss. Atlanta starting a road trip, maybe focus to start the road trip. Either way you look at it, you're either starting the road trip with some winning momentum or you're trying to bust out of losing momentum and start the road trip. So I think the start of a road trip is just generally a focus spot. Minnesota is coming off a really ugly home loss to the Clippers, though. But that was yesterday. But they lost. They got pretty embarrassed. They lost by almost 20 points, although the Clippers are better than people think they are, based on a very bad start to the season. The T-Wolves are getting the money. They're up from 6 to 6.5, 77% of tickets, 84% of the cash on them. I don't really know if I would agree with that either, to be honest. I like the team starting a road trip with a little bit of extra rest, I think. Don't really want Minnesota on the back-to-back, although they're probably being downgraded a bit because anytime a team is on a back-to-back, I think the odds makers do knock the line down a little bit on them. So, yeah, that's another game that I want nothing to do with. Although it looks like the money is slightly coming in towards the T-Wolves right now. Sacramento at New Orleans. Sacramento is coming off a really tough game against the Cavs where they almost beat the Cavs. And the Cavs, I believe... Actually, I don't know. Yeah, that might have been the first game that Harden played for Cleveland, so that might have thrown Cleveland off a little bit as well, because I'm pretty sure he didn't play against the Clippers after the Clippers traded him. I think Harden played a little bit in that game, and it might have skewed the line a little bit, but it might have made Cleveland a little bit overconfident. Whatever it was, maybe it was the spot, but Sacramento put in a really good effort as big underdogs, double-digit underdogs, and they almost pulled off the upset against Cleveland. And you know, I always say when a team does that, a lot of times they're flat in the next game because they're coming off such a big performance. But they are starting a road trip, so maybe they'll be focused on it. It is just New Orleans, Utah on the road trip. Neither game is very enticing, really. So it does still look like kind of a hangover spot for the Kings, whoever I was just talking about. But for the Pelicans, it's also a bad spot. Even though they did just end a losing streak, they just upset Minnesota on the road, man. That's a monster upset for the Pelicans. It wasn't the greatest spot for Minnesota, I don't believe. And the Pelicans are returning home from a road trip. So this is an ugly spot for the Pelicans. And you know, I talk about when a team returns home from a road trip, and they've been on the road for more than a week in this case, a lot of times they will not have focus in that first game, even though they have 2 days off. A lot of times they're back in the swing of things at home, getting distracted. They got stuff to do at home. They have a bigger game up next, really, against Miami. So I don't like the spot for the Pelicans. Really, really a bad spot, actually. It's a bad spot for both teams, but I think the spot might favor Sacramento to me a little bit here. You're getting a lot of points with Sacramento. I don't know if New Orleans really deserves to be favored by this much, although some of it is probably because of injuries, as it always is, as Zach LaVine is definitely going to miss this game. He got injured in the game against the Clippers, so that might set up an injured player spot, man. You know, I always talk about that, too. When a star player goes down, sometimes the team will step up their game in his absence, and the line will be skewed against that team, right, because that player is out, and a lot of times it'll overreact. We also don't know what Sabonis is going to do. Sabonis has actually missed 2 games, which I haven't even really talked about that. I keep missing all these injuries in the NBA, man. Sabonis, we don't know if he's going to play or not. So if he comes back, then that could be a reverse injured player spot and an injured player spot coming in together on the Sacramento side. I don't know what that would even do, really. Because if it's the reverse injured player spot, then the line has to adjust for that a little bit, too, towards the Kings, and it might overreact for that reason. To me, it looks like we know at the very least LaVine is not playing, but because the Pelicans are an 8-point favorite now, up from 5.5, maybe Sabonis isn't playing. But either way, I think this is kind of an overreaction, man. I just don't think the Pelicans should be this heavy of a favorite against really anybody. 83% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the Pelicans. And again, in a return home spot as well, off a huge upset. I don't like it. I just can't quite get there with the Kings with their roster being in flux a bit and coming off a huge game themselves. I would lean to taking the points with the Kings in that one, though. And we know it'll be fading the public at the very least. Cleveland at Denver. This is going to be one of the better games of the night. Cleveland is coming off that game where they almost got upset by the Kings, so I think they should be focused here. Although they are finishing a road trip, but they've had some decent amount of rest. They've had a decent amount of rest during this road trip, so I don't think they're going to be tired or anything like that, really. It was a bad game for them against Sacramento that they barely got by. Maybe they were looking ahead already. Maybe they were feeling high on themselves after killing the Clippers right after they made that trade. Whatever it was, I think it was kind of a bad spot. I think they will show up for this game against the Nuggets. Denver coming into this game off of beating Chicago. Doesn't really matter, but they're returning home from a road trip. It wasn't like a long road trip, but they were on the road for almost a week. So they are returning home from that, which makes it not the greatest spot for Denver here. The return home spot, again, I will point out, it can be a distracted spot. You have to get back to doing stuff around the home, whatever. But they don't have a bigger game on deck against Memphis, so they may still pay attention to Cleveland in this one because Cleveland is really, really playing well right now. This is bad for the Celtics because the Celtics just got killed by the Knicks. The Celtics had a pretty decent stranglehold on the number 2 seed in the East, and now they do not. With the Knicks and Cleveland both right there. It's not good, man. Celtics need to at least make sure they get a home series, man. But anyway, the Nuggets have flipped from a 1.5 point underdog, to a pick 'em here. The money is coming in on the Nuggets, but I don't agree with that. 69% of tickets, 77% of the cash on the Nuggets. I don't see an argument for it, man. I do not. Cleveland is coming off. I do not. Why am my mind is just like skipping. I'm like, wait, I forget. What is? Oh, that's the room. I think is what I'm thinking of, right? Something like, oh, hi, Mark. Yeah. I don't know. I think there was some line where he says, I do not. That's what I was thinking of. Anyway, Nuggets return home spot. Cleveland coming off a bad performance, so they almost lost as a huge favorite. That would have me on the side of the Cavs in that game. I can't quite get there with that one, but I would honestly say that's probably my second strongest opinion in the NBA besides Charlotte. I think so. But I can't get there with it. Memphis at Golden State. Memphis is playing some bad basketball. I mean, they've unloaded their players, like I said. Their other players are injured as well, so they're a shell of a team right now. They might get up for a game against Golden State after they got swept 2 games in Portland. You know, it's Golden State. Maybe you do get up for Golden State. Golden State is dealing with some injuries. We got to see what's going on with that. Golden State's coming off a pretty nice performance at the Lakers, where they only lost by 6. And they have a few huge games on deck. ESPN against San Antonio. Then they have a break, and then they get Boston, Denver. Boston on Amazon Prime, and then Denver on TV as well on ABC. So this does look like pretty much a sandwich spot for the Warriors here, man. And they're technically returning home from a road trip, although they only went Thursday, Saturday, and only went to Phoenix and LA. But still, this game is sandwiched in between much, much bigger games. From Memphis, well, we already looked at Memphis. They're, I think, at least probably going to try to show up for this game. Now, we have to see if Curry is coming back in this game. Let me see here. Steph Curry is still out, so he is missing this game. Porzingis has not even played yet for the Warriors since they got him. We know Butler is out for the season. L.J. Cryer, the man from Houston, I believe, University of Houston, he's out as well. So this is a very, very depleted Golden State team here. They're laying 8 points, 67% of tickets and cash on Golden State. Actually, this is definitely up there among the better basketball leans of the day, man. Grizzlies plus the points would have to be the way I would lean in this one. Now, I don't even know who's playing for the Grizzlies, but that's probably going to affect the line a little bit. Walter Clayton Jr. might play. We know that Morant and Edey are still out. We know they traded Jackson or whatever. They got Clayton Jr. over from the Jazz, I think. He did play one game for Memphis already, so he actually played their most recent game, I guess. Or did he? I don't know, because both teams were playing Portland at the same time the trade happened. I don't know. Very, very strange. So I don't know if he's playing or not, but at least he has one game under his belt. I'm almost tempted to do it with the Grizzlies, to be honest, because it is a sandwich spot, but I don't know. How did this game go against the Lakers is what I want to see. Like, how close was it? I don't know. I mean, Golden State was down double digits in the closing minutes of the game. I'll stay away, but I like Memphis plus the points in that one. That one is very close to being a play for me as well. Thunder at the Lakers on Peacock. Thunder coming off a tough loss at home to Houston. But the Thunder did lose as a home favorite. So a lot of times when a favorite loses, a lot of times they will show up for the next game. But that was a big game against Houston. They had a big game prior to that against San Antonio. Lost both games. Maybe they will show up for a game against the Lakers. But we have injury concerns in this game, too. The Lakers are coming off beating Golden State. An injury-depleted Golden State team. I don't know how much that game matters to the Lakers. I guess it was a decent win nonetheless. Lakers are without Luka Doncic in this game, so it's going to be, again, this is one of these games where the star player is gone for both teams, man. So the fact that this is one of the games on Peacock, they're getting pretty unlucky with the scheduling here, because you get two good teams here, but you get SGA not playing for OKC and Luka not playing for the Lakers. So great game here. Josh Denny, what's up, man? Is this the real Josh Denny? I like Candace Owens, yeah. Yeah, she's a baddie. Why do I have to go on record saying that? I'm already on record basically saying that on Twitter. So yeah, she's willing to call out the bullshit, man. Everybody, when everybody's going after somebody and calling them a conspiracy theorist and trying to discredit them and call them crazy, that's when you want to pay attention to what that person is saying. Even if she might not get every single thing right, you know what I mean? I think she's right more often than she isn't. So, Josh Denny, thanks for hanging out, man, if that's you. Hell yeah. I haven't seen you in a while. What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking out the show. This is all I got now with Tower Gang gone, man. Everybody can go check out the old Tower Gang episodes. They're all somewhere. Odyssey, Rumble, whatever. Josh Denny was on the show multiple times. Excellent comedian, Josh Denny. People should go check out his shit. Go check it out. It's not shit. It's the shit. I did, maybe it's because I liked one of Josh's tweets earlier in the morning. I was in a daze, though. I don't even know what I was like of it. I was like, that's funny. Like, it was a funny reply. I forget what it was, though. All right. Josh, he was on one of my favorite episodes that we ever did of Tower Game, by the way. The first episode that we had Josh on that was just me, Cole, and Josh shooting the shit. We compared the pussies of different races to different meats on that episode. That one's probably on Odyssey somewhere. People can maybe go find that episode. I thought that was one of the funniest episodes, man. I was dying laughing during that episode. All right, Laker Thunder game here. Then I got one more game to talk about after this. The Thunder are actually a large favorite here, up from 4.5 to 7. Maybe justifiably so. 59% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on the Thunder. I mean, it looks like a really huge line here, man. Like, I think the public's going to look at this game and tend to want to take the points of the Lakers here, thinking this is going to be a competitive game. Like, how are you getting this many points of the Lakers? Both star players are out, but the Thunder have a lot more depth, and the Lakers are actually a really atrocious defensive team. So I don't know, man. I mean, I could see the Thunder showing up in this one, even though they are coming off some difficult games. Lakers are coming off a pretty satisfying win as well, so I wouldn't really disagree with laying the points of the Thunder in that one, but the number's getting a little bit high for my liking in that one. I mean, it's definitely not a game I would want to have money on. Who's Mike David? Do I know who that is? You've outlived everybody who's died so far, man. So that is definitely something. Yeah, us fat guys, dude. Whenever we outlive somebody, it feels pretty good. Jeff, what's going on, man? We're gonna talk about Portland. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Portland. You're right. I do agree with you on Portland in that one. Oh, he's a troll, Red Bar. I'm not really familiar with it, man. There are a lot of things I don't know. Like, I'll find, like, dude, it's all the time. There'll be somebody who's some online persona. Dude, you've never heard of this guy? They have like a million followers or whatever. I'm like, no, I've never heard of this person. Like, there are so many people with a million followers now. I don't know. And I don't have anywhere near that. So nobody's heard of me. But, like, if I haven't heard of these people that have a million followers, I have no chance, man. Maybe I'm just too old and I'm just not, I don't know, I'm not hip to all these new internet celebrities or whatever. I don't know. 76ers at Trailblazers. The Sixers are up from 2 to 3 here. Jeff, the money is agreeing with you on this. 55% of the tickets are on the Philly side. 68% of the cash on Portland. I agree with you on this one. And this is also, I forgot about this game. This is also one of the better leans of the day. I do like this one. Philly is coming off a mild upset on the road of Phoenix. Phoenix, a good team. If you look at this run that Philly has had, though, they basically blew out the Clippers on the road on a back-to-back. They then beat Golden State in a beatdown, although I think that was Golden State without Butler and Curry. They lost to the Lakers in a close game, which I think might have been before Luka went down, or maybe he did go down in that game. I don't remember. Philly, actually, that was a brutal loss for Philly, too. They were actually blowing the Lakers out in that game. The Lakers were in a bad spot as well in the return home spot, and the Lakers somehow wound up winning the game. I think Luka might have already been out in that game. I don't know. That might have been the Luka injured player theory spot, actually. I don't remember. But then, yeah, Philly beat Phoenix. Now they have Portland, probably the weakest team in this entire road trip. And then they come home and they got the Knicks on ESPN. So I think you're right. This is a sandwich spot here where they may very well overlook Portland. Portland's just kind of, they got some momentum right now. They just had a couple of easy wins against a rebuilding Memphis team that just shipped off their team. Now, Portland does have Minnesota next when they start a road trip here, but I don't think they overlook Philly. I think you're right about this. You know what? This one might actually be the best NBA play. I retract my earlier statements because I do like Charlotte. I do like, what were the other ones? Cleveland and Memphis. I do like those three as well. But you know what? This one might actually be the best one. You know what? Let's get a little bit ballsy today. Let's do it. What's the best number we can get on this? We might be able to get a 3 on this. Let's add Portland to the mix. I feel like pain today, man. After yesterday felt like it was way worse than it actually was because UNC Greensboro kind of saved the day yesterday. This is going to be a +3 on Portland. Let's do it. So we won't skip the NBA. We'll have one NBA play. I'll make it official if StreamYard stops being a slow piece of shit here. There it is. Portland +3. There you go. Thank you, Jeff. I don't know. Dude, a lot of times I'll just vehemently disagree with somebody in the chat, and that will put me over the edge, and I'll just put my money where my mouth is, be like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this game. I still haven't freed up my funds, though, by the way, even though unfortunately, the only bet that I actually did make yesterday was on the Super Bowl itself, and that was the one big loser that I gave out yesterday. So isn't that just awesome for me? But my money will be freed up soon. It'll be the end of the month, though, and then maybe we're going full time with the betting here, man. You're down bad? Oh, no. You got, I don't know, dude, they steal everything, man. Even girlfriends, man. They can't help but thieve. I don't want to get this channel nuked, though. I try not to get, a Tower Gang level of extreme on this one. Josh, you should just, dude, you're famous. You could just go find, some pussy out there, I mean, worst case scenario, you could just pay for it probably, right? You'll be able to find, or do you mean you actually want, you want another real girlfriend? That's a little bit of a different ask, yeah. That might take some time. But what do I know about it? You think I'm an expert? Don't listen to me about women, or anything really. Don't even listen to me about sports betting. What do I know? Anyway, the plays today are, we have 3 plays now, and I thought it was going to be 1. 2 college basketball plays are Bucknell plus the points. Looks like, I think it's about 7.5, and North Alabama plus the 7 out there, although you got to shop around. A lot of the books are trying to screw you on this line by giving you only the options of 6.5 at reduced juice and 7.5 and paying too much juice, where I hate when the books do that. 7, kind of a key number in basketball, where teams stop intentionally fouling at the 3-possession threshold. But either way, hopefully North Alabama just gets it done. And then the Portland Trailblazers plus the points. Those are the 3 plays today. I have to delete all the banners from yesterday's bad day. There we go. I thought that said brothers at first. You're frequenting brothers, to get back at them. you're fucking all of them to get back at them for stealing your chicks. Brothels, yeah. All right. Well, that's an option. That's one thing that you can do. Going to the brothels. All right. I got to get out of here, man. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You can subscribe to me there. Learn to Toad on Instagram, and I'll put out the short videos for that shortly. Like, subscribe, give me good comments on this channel, man. We got to boost this thing up. Hopefully we can do that. It's been a slow slog, man. So I don't know. I'm a slow slog. I don't know. I just talk too much on the show. Very, very long form betting content here. You can also listen on audio. You can give me a good review on audio, Spotify, Apple. That helps me out as well. Covered in Uke. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. You can check that out as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can get some bonus Uke content there. And just throw me some support if you want to. Which will probably just fund my habit. But, dude, betting, I treat it as an investment. Like, I do treat it seriously. This isn't just some total degeneracy here, even if it sounds like it. Trying to pick the best spots where we think we actually have an edge. And then Loser Cast will be back tomorrow night with a new episode. That's the new comedy podcast. It's probably not going anywhere because we're all a bunch of losers. And I have to figure out my next loser to nominate. I'm not going to nominate Josh, even though he did lose his girlfriend. That won't happen. I got to find somebody to nominate, though, for tomorrow. But you can go check that out as well. That's after Legion of Skanks. That's going to do it, man. Embiid is questionable. Yeah, I just ignore that. I mean, he's questionable for the entire season, man. Whether he plays or he doesn't, I don't even know if it's going to matter that much in that game. I don't even know who Patrick Melton is. I don't know who any of these people are. Who is he? I'm going to look him up. Who is this guy? Oh, he's a movie dude, a screenwriter. He did The Collector. That movie was okay. I don't know. Should I be disavowing him? What has he done? I don't know. I don't know anything about him except I've seen The Collector. I think that's the only thing that I know about him. Oh wait, he had something to do with Saw 6. Not the greatest Saw movie. I don't know. I don't know what his involvement was in Saw 6. But yes. Oh, your old co-host, wrong. Oh, there were multiple Patrick Meltons. All right. I have no idea. Yes, I did. If he was your dude, I don't know. If he did a show with you, then yeah, I got to disavow him for that, right? Why would he do that? Yeah, I disavow him. Onions, I don't know. I like onions personally. In the right situation, not just onions on their own. I mean, that's crazy. That's like psychopath shit. Like eating an onion like an apple or something, that's crazy. No, not like that, but like onions on like a burger or in some dish where it makes sense, then yeah, then I'll go for some onions. Dude, my grandfather, his thing was onion pizza. He would eat pizza with just onion on it, and I have to say it's actually pretty good. Like the onion it's like diced onion, diced white onion that gets all caramelized on it. It feels like it's missing a little bit of something, but it does taste pretty good. I like it. Oh, yeah. It's been ugly, too. There are plays my college plays are uglier than Portland tonight. Yes, nobody likes onions. That's a title of a show. Nobody's going to watch that. That's not an attractive title, man. Yeah, is that really going to attract an audience? It's not like Toadstool Sports, which gets people like Josh Denny to watch it. All right, man. I got to get out of here. Josh, I appreciate you, man. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate it. Jeff, Dirty Sock, Kyle. I think that was it today, man. Very, very light today. Kyle, where's the rest of your crew, man? Where's Garrett and Tyson Chicken and those guys? I don't know. He's chicken to watch the show today after that loss in the Super Bowl yesterday. That's going to do it, everybody. A super chat. I'm not monetized yet, though. That's another problem. We got to boost this thing up so I can get monetized, man. That's what we need to do here. Are you gonna send a super chat to Melton? Don't do that. Don't waste your money on that guy, on onions or whatever. That's gonna do it. I appreciate everybody. Let's get some wins on these basketball plays today. Have a good Monday and peace.